What's up, guys and girls? Today I'm going to throw out my sort of unexperienced novice theory that nothing in the world is actually random. And again, I apologize for my ignorance because I probably should have read up or seen if anyone has actually thrown out this theory or researched it or given evidence or done experiments on it. But this is just something I randomly wanted to talk about. So my theory is that nothing is really random. If you look at the most random thing you can think of, let's say a coin flip. A coin flip is only random, and again, it goes back to my second theory that supports this, which is the fact that that theory says that things that we think are random are more so just so complicated that we do not have the technology and mathematical power to computationally, um, I guess, predict the result of an event that's random. It is, in fact, random in terms of the small scenario or micro scenario that's in place. So let's say if you are betting someone, um, and then you toss a coin fairly, it's random in that scenario. But from a larger perspective, in the perspective of calling it random um, when you have that technology in place to predict it, then even something as random as a coin toss becomes non-random when you have that technology. Um, so again, I don't think it's that far off to prove, um, because if you go into a laboratory and you lay a coin flat on some machine, and then you know, toss out a precise amount of force in a non-gravity chamber of some sort, maybe you have to extract the air as well. It will Actually, it has to have gravity, but it will flip up and then fall back down. And I know at this point you're just thinking, oh my goodness, what is this idiot talking about? But this coin will go up and then fall back down based and the number of flips it does and how high it goes and how high it falls. That is all determined by the angle, the composition of the coin, its structure, its aerodynamics, all this physics stuff. That can all be determined, and therefore you can in those scenarios you can predict which side that coin will flip, whether it will be heads or tails. And in real life, it gets a lot more complicated when you factor in all other things like wind factor, angle of the coin, people or things that the coin might bump into before it hits the ground. Sometimes it spins on the ground and then before it finally lands on a side, and on and on and on. But that doesn't mean it's completely random. If we had the mathematical and intellectual capability of accounting for all those factors and putting them into a mathematical model, we could in fact predict which side this coin would land. Um, and therefore, it's still random. So I think I used the wrong word, but it can be, I guess, predicted is what I'm saying. And so every instance of the world, every little thing in the world is not truly random in the perspective that you cannot predict the outcome whatsoever. That definition of random. And so even if you look at other things, like if, let's say, a randomly generated number using some computer algorithm or program, what you'll find is that even with these processes on a computer, these are usually programmed with some sort of algorithm, and that algorithm is only random to the extent of the formula. If you understand the algorithm, um, it's like I feel like you can mathematically predict the outcome of a of whatever's going to pop out based on the algorithm. Now, that may not be true at all, but yeah, again, I'm just throwing stuff out there. Um, and yeah, again, who knows if I'll actually upload this video. It's kind of lame. I maybe should have done my research on that as well, seeing if there's actually if you can actually do that with a computer program. If I do release this, go ahead and leave in comments if you know. Um, but from what I know, I feel like most algorithms are not truly random in the fact that they are based on some formula, and that formula um, can once analyzed with some uh, given some highly intellectual being um, far beyond our capabilities, or some supercomputer that can analyze that, they could probably predict what will come out of that machine each time based on understanding that algorithm. And then as far as stuff like um, atoms go, uh, think about it like this: like people say that atoms, they or not atoms, but molecules, not necessarily atoms, but molecules or other things like this, they bounce around randomly, um, and therefore you don't know how it's going to disperse. But in reality, I feel like the only reason it's random is because, I mean, it is random, but if you could, in fact, track the whereabouts of every single molecule and account for its motion, that randomness is really just a lot of simple processes, simple mechanisms of physics um, on a large scale. So if you could account for every molecule and each of its interactions, you could in fact predict the final outcome of a single molecule. And with some supercomputer or some higher level being, they could probably predict that, um, given all the variables and factors involved. I don't know. Throwing stuff out there. See you guys later.